Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome back to Planet Zoo, where we're back in Betaville Zoo, here our zoo project for the beta, surprisingly. And we're starting that today by taking on a bit of feedback from the last episode, saying that tortoises don't swim, although for some reason they do in this game. We do try and go for a bit more of a realistic approach if we can. So I've removed the water and shrunk it down as well, because people were saying that tortoises need a bit of a smaller spot so that they don't have to go too far for their food. It didn't seem to be a problem, to be honest, but happy to take on feedback. So I've shrunk it down there, and then also made the cave actually the back of the border. The back of the exhibit there, so just a slightly more interesting sort of exhibit shape and size. Placing down. For some reason he had to get picked up and took all the way around. But now he's, I say he, I can't remember actually what sex it is, to be honest, but the tortoise is now much happier. I do, in this little time lapse here, forget to place down some water, but I have noticed, and since I gave him some water, so the tortoise hasn't completely dried out. But other than that, we've literally just sort of truncated the whole thing, and then we just had to move some of the signage and stuff to make it make a little bit more sense, and move the donation bins and that sort of stuff. You'll see under there I'm using these speakers, the speakers that kind of just talk about the animals. Now, because those screens are televisions, it makes sense to me that they have audio and visual, so all I've been doing is placing a speaker under the ground so that it looks like it's coming out of the TV, or sounds like it's coming out of the TV. Right then, the main chunk of this episode today then is we're going to start off time-lapse. Got about 5 or 6 minutes time-lapse while we get the main bits of the exhibit done. And then we'll have a little bit of real time as we sort of tidy things up. But the main thing I want to do today is start with our first kind of big animal. Now, it's not a big ticket, not lions or elephants or anything like that. We haven't got the finances or the conservation points for that just now. But I did want something that isn't just sort of sat in a little square pen that we've already got. So I decided to go for Arctic wolves. I think they look adorable, especially the babies. And I actually got this idea. And I've had the idea of doing underground things. I've thought of all different ways of doing different viewpoints, but the thing that made me go for this today was actually a member of our Discord, Ktronica, has built something similar to this, and said he struggled a little bit with how the animals manage with the barrier and stuff, but I still wanted to kind of give it a go, so that's what I'm doing here. There's going to be tutorials coming on pathing and barriers and stuff once I'm a little bit more comfortable with. Well, pathing I'm going to try to do tonight, but barriers I want to be a little bit more comfortable with them myself before I try and teach people how to use them. But the first tutorial on the channel has gone up now, which is for the building mechanics, just sort of building regular sort of construction buildings, because that's pretty much verbatim from Planet Coaster, so I kind of knew what I was doing there, so happy to put that one out for you. It seems to have gone down well. Everyone's getting lots of decent advice from it and stuff, which is really great. So here I'm trying to figure out how the pathing wants to go. One thing I did want to do here is, rather than just having the path be able to see the animal all the way around the path, I wanted some sort of very specific view areas. So here's where you stand if you want to see this animal, kind of thing. I apologise if you can hear my cat in the background. He seems to start making noise as soon as I record. He's a Siamese, that's the noise they make. He's fine, he's not unwell or not hungry or anything like that. He's just a bit of an arsehole. So I wanted to make sure that there was just a couple of areas where you can actually see the animals, so that the guests actually head over to those areas rather than just wander all around, because then you can do a few things. One, you can kind of make these nice viewing platforms that look good, but also you can keep everyone nearby for the donation boxes and stuff, so as it makes it a bit easier to take money off people. So here I'm using a combination of null barriers that we're going to cover up a little bit later on, and wood barriers. I have started research on some more types of barriers, so I think I might come back and change some of this for maybe some stone or something later on, just to kind of give it a bit of a variation, and something that looks a little bit sturdier as well, perhaps. Because at the moment, the wood barriers, you want something pretty sturdy, I think, against a wolf. So we're going to place it high up. We're going for this like 4 meter high. I'm desperately trying to get 4 meters, but I can't. It's either 3.99 or 4.01. But we're trying our hardest to do it. So the main thing here is the actual barrier, as far as the game is concerned, kind of comes through this building and then over here, and it's a little janky, to be fair, and I end up having to go back and do it a few times. But actually the barrier is going to be a glass panel that sits down there in the in the viewing area. I haven't actually got the time lapse of the viewing area recorded because it's recording underground like that and moving around really quick like what happens with the time lapse is pretty much impossible to watch. And I wanted to do it off camera because it can be really fiddly building underground, so I didn't want to sort of make you have to struggle as much as I did. Our tapir passed away, unfortunately, so we went and just bought a new one. I think the game, the time moves too quick in the game, if I'm honest. I think if they want us to be attached to these animals, they need to last longer, they need to live longer. Here then, this is the really useful, this is traversable terrain overlay, and it's really handy for those sort of barriers where we've got areas where we don't want them to go, and it updates in pretty much real time as long as the game's running, so that's quite a useful way of seeing where your animals can get out. It also, on that traversable terrain, shows you using like red exclamation marks where they can get out of barriers, basically. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do here. I wanted to sort of build this up with some taiga rocks, going for a very different sort of biome than what we've got already in the game. Most of the stuff we've got in the game is from sort of the southern hemisphere, Africa and South America. This one is these guys hang around in a lot of the northern hemisphere, to be honest, North America, Northern Europe, that sort of places. So we've gone for a bit of a mishmash here, mostly North American stuff, but really just whatever planting we've got. The good thing here is that they're very much up for having a bit more planting. Which is really good because a lot of the smaller animals, they don't actually like that much in their exhibits, especially if you make them slightly larger exhibits. I'd like to see maybe that planting number become more of a percentage of the exhibit, so as that with bigger ones you can make you can just have more stuff down, but it still classes as like 30% of the exhibit's covered in foliage. It doesn't seem to be that's how it works at the moment. But yeah, so there we can go. We can see the sort of outlay there. I really wanted this sort of high mountain with a waterfall as well that we're going to have a go at later on as well, using these special effects. Again, still kind of work in progress, that is. It's still trying to fiddly to figure out how they sit together nicely and work well. But I think we're getting there. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the right amounts of soil and dirt and all that sort of stuff to make them happy. And then here I'm looking at some glass pieces. In the end, I decided to go for a glass panel barrier just because it's easy. But then actually I do make glass pieces that hug that path a little bit. But they should work. They should work as the edge of the barrier, but it doesn't seem that they do, unfortunately. So at the moment, we've got like a double panel. There's a glass panel barrier and then a glass panel that the guests stop at. So we have to keep having to play with all that. This sort of stuff is tricky. I'm new to the game. The game is new in general, and also this is quite sort of developed terrain and path conforming and stuff. For the most part, people are throwing down boxes and putting animals around them, or doing silly paths that go right up over the top of exhibits that just look incredibly unrealistic. So to get this sort of realism, you do kind of almost break the game a little bit. Although the game lets you do it, it is a lot more probably in depth than it's ready for, I suppose. Here, one of the big problems was that the animal was too hot. I'm personally not a massive fan of the coolers and the heaters in this game. I find them incredibly unrealistic. I had this idea that there's just a small metal cooler that you can place down that irradiates a massive amount of cold air in the outdoors is just ridiculous. It just doesn't happen. So I do place them down. Luckily, you can hide them under the ground so you can't see them. So I'm just kind of using it as we have to do it to keep the animals happy. I think probably in the full game, if I do sort of settle into a zoo, I'll take the temperature of the biome into account more with the animal choices we make, but it may just be that normally in real life, animals that need it colder just have a lot of indoor space that can be temperature regulated much easier through air conditioning. What we might just have to do is just pretend that we're doing that, and build the indoor spaces. But here you can see we put down these coolers. I understand it's a game mechanic, and it's needed, but as far as a realism point of view goes, it's ridiculous. There we go. Now we're in real time. We'll take a look at the interior. So it's still a work in progress. Bear with me. This is the underground bit then. Perfect timing because it's raining out, so all of the doggies have come in here. And we've had a litter as well, as you probably expect, because animals just get funky in this game, pop babies out left, right and centre. So, there we go. One thing I do think I need to do is actually bring the level of this up to the level of the path. I don't think it's a bit weird that we sort of look down into it. It makes it a bit back cavey, a bit too big. And also, like I say, we have to have this glass here at the moment as a barrier. This should work as a barrier, so I'm still sort of playing around with that and trying to figure that out. But yeah, I think we need to have a little adjustment here. But the interior, I'm really quite happy with. There are these gorgeous glass panels with different animals on, and there is a wolf one, which is awesome. And then we've got the screen over here as well. We don't know much about it just yet, unfortunately, so we've placed that down there as well. And then we've just got this sort of fake tree in the middle here to kind of spread the place out. And benches, these aren't usable, these don't actually work, they're just for show, and they're not really quite good. So I'm going to have to carry on this sort of design up here. This is quite tricky to do, so I won't do this on camera. I'll finish this off camera. Unfortunately, they stop here and look, which isn't great. They don't actually go down. They did for a time, and then something happened, and then they don't again. So that's no good, really. But a few things we need to do now. We need to sort of box this in and make it a nice entrance in. And then around here, we've done a little bit more work, a bit of foliage, a bit of rock work and stuff. It'd be nice if it didn't rain. Can we set the temperature to set the weather to no weather. There we go, just so we can see. I actually quite like the rain, but for the first view, I want to kind of show off properly. So these gorgeous little puppies, yeah, this needs to come up a little bit. I think it's quite a dive down into there, which is no good. One thing that was interesting is the adults couldn't get through here, but the puppies could. So the puppies all ran, as soon as they were born, they all ran up here and started running through the zoo. Managed to round them all up again. Do need to do a little bit of work here with rock work, just to kind of box it all in a bit, make it look a little bit more natural. All the top here, and I had another go at the waterfall. There again, using some rock work. Just needs a lot of rock work, really, because you can kind of see the pattern of the ground texture. You know, you can see the lines where it loops. It's not a problem with the game. It's just kind of how this thing does when you have big swathes. And the way to fix that is to break it up with rock work and foliage and stuff. So we'll definitely carry on in there. I've done like a little bit of a point here. I'm tempted to put that as a snow-capped little mountain. I don't know. We might do that. We might not. But otherwise, they're looking pretty good. Let's just check the welfare on them. Not awful. They have no food enrichment. That's because they're not getting fed when I put one of those in. Common thing we've got in the beta that hopefully will get fixed. But otherwise, their meal quality is not great, so we haven't really researched them yet either. But otherwise, that's not too bad, that. And obviously, they've had babies. So as soon as the babies get big, we'll flog them out. But they're so adorable. Look at them. To double click and get the baby cam. Hey you. They are the cutest things. They really are. So yeah, the next thing to do then is to kind of finish off here, this viewing platform, very popular viewing platform. That's good. So from this side, it's looking pretty good, although I think it needs something along the top. But obviously the back here, what I was going to do here is just a bit of a garden, and we have these awesome statues in the game. Let's have a look. Wolf. Oh, they're under construction probably. Wolf. There we go. You know, I still got loads of money as well. I took out a loan because I was running really low on money from this. The plan was to put this in and then raise a fortune from it. But they all got out, and I thought rather than waiting for my one vet that I have to fill them up, I decided to just round them up emergency style, and so that cost money. So I just took out a big loan. People are going, yeah. We'll have a mess with that and see if we can figure it out. But for now, at least, this is doing very popular and probably earning us a bang load of money, $2,000 so far, and this is moments after being open, so that's good. Righty-ho, let's have a think then. So we need to tidy all this up. Like I say, there's these awesome wolf statues here that we have. So I'm thinking over here we can do something with these as a sort of come and see the wolves. You know, it's a big area. And then here I absolutely love this wooden sign. So I'm thinking we do something like an archway, wooden archway based around this wolf sign. Weirdly, That's actually quite small for a planet sign. Normally they're huge, but I think that's going to be the plan. So we'll start over here, and I've already kind of got what I want in my head. If you ever remember the Tales of... Oh god, it was a forest, Farthingwood Forest, the Tales of something forest. Oh, come on, help me out. If you're British and in your late 20s, early 30s, there was a TV program that you will have watched. The Animals of something wood forest. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. But at the opening credits, they had this like a sort of image of animals sort of up on a stone. And you'll see what I mean. Anyway, let's pause the game because we're just going to be probably maybe wasting money. Oh wow. What's cost us so much? Miscellaneous. What's miscellaneous? Let's just quickly check that out. Finances. Two years ago. Average. I don't want to know the years. I want to know the months because that's a monthly figure there, isn't it? Miscellaneous. Emergency captures. It might have been the emergency capture stuff and fines and stuff for animals getting out. Never mind. Okay, let's come into here, come into the rocks, and let's search for Taiga. And I'm guessing it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's perfect. I was going to say, there's going to be one that's like a pride rock kind of. I have this problem with X not working to swap between rotation and movement, and I'll be honest with you, it's debilitating. But beta's gonna beta. So I'm gonna come in here. There we go. So this is like a stone, right? I mean, he's prowling. It'd be good if he was like howling to the moon. Would be a better pose, I think. But still, that's pretty good. And let's get a little dude here and move him up. And that is just genuinely just a smaller version, right? But that's okay. Yeah, look at that. That's good, doesn't it? So that's quite low. So I'm going to raise the whole thing up. There we go. It's just the sort of place you come and get your photo took, you know? That's kind of what I'm going for here. And then we need to raise it up onto some bigger rocks. Best trick I can give you with when it comes to like rock work and stuff, I've seen a few people making these kind of things now. Use lots of different types and rotate them. Every time you place one down, at least rotate it. But personally, you're better off... it's just better off placing hundreds of them. You're better off using a different one each time, but rotate, shrink it in, you know, all of this stuff. That's how you get natural looking rock work like this. Now, obviously, this isn't natural. This is formed. This would be something that they put in when the animal was opened, you know, like a new exhibit. That looks pretty good, I think. Size-wise, it's about right. I think it just needs a couple of bigger rocks at the back that are slightly higher up so that it's going to stop people trying to climb it. If you had like it tiered up, you'd have kids all over this. Having to change how I build a little bit at the moment because this X isn't working. There we go. That's pretty good. I'm going to go into terrain and just put do you know what? Actually, let's go for some soil because we're going to plant this up a little bit. So, kind of okay with that being all soil. Because we're going to plant the hell out of it. But first of all, we need a fence. So, let's have a look at some fence pieces. They are in props fence. There we go. Get rid of the word wolf because there's not going to be a wolf fence in the game. So unfortunately we have the Indian and the New World, and I suppose that New World one isn't too bad. Oh, that's just Planet Zoo one. I said the New World one, it's all a bit funky. That's quite nice. Let me look at that New World fence. That kind of fits actually. Okay, I take it all back. I wanted something that was wooden, and that's actually pretty nice. Yeah, all right, I'll go with that. It needs a bit more detail though. Oh, what about that one as well? So that's a bit more like industrial. It's good for like backstagey stuff, that one, and this one as well. But I want something that looks a little nicer. But it does need a bit more detail. So we're going to pillars. We'll stick a 4 meter beam on it. Oh, the fact that X isn't working. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it lets you do that click, but to change between rotation and thingy it doesn't work, which is quite irritating. Yeah, it just needs a top of that, doesn't it? I don't know why. It just feels like it needs something on the top. These should be in a group. I'll show you quickest way to do fencing. This is how we had to do fencing in Planco because barriers weren't a thing. That's no good. There we go. Now, it says this is FlexiColor, but do you have to place it down first? Yes. At the moment, it's that sort of really yellowy pine, and it doesn't really work. That's better. Nice darker colour. Okay. So let's go and put that in place. It's going to start from here. Now, we're not going to be able to finish this, unfortunately, especially not live in an episode because this sort of stuff takes forever. But now what you can do is place it down, Control and X. Oh, look, I'm going into tutorial mode. I don't mean to. A lot of this is covered in my building tutorial that I put out today. So I hope any of you needed it. I found that useful. But yeah, this is actually going to be quite tricky because we have to keep clicking that button. Next few we can do straight, luckily. And if the path peeks through a little like it does there, that's okay because you can just put some bushes down, and they'll never know. Okay. Yeah, things like that you can sort of source out afterwards. You can put down bits of path. You can put down little windows, you know, and just tick them under. But yeah, that looks. Do you know what? If anything, that looks a bit high. I think it's because it's more. It's not so much of a don't die fence. It's more of a keep off the grass fence. To be honest, I think it might be better like that. Yeah. All right. I'll carry on the rest. I'll sort of do a bit of a vignette here so we can see that we've got something we're happy with. Right then, nature. I'm going to stay on the taiga front. Taiga. Let me know who's right, me or me. Taiga. There we go. And North American. So North American taiga. We have these. So what are the? So hold on then, because that isn't. Taiga. Oh, Polar, Europe, and Asia. Sorry, do you not like North America? I thought you were into North America. Europe, North America, Asia. Oh, because all these trees would work in there as well. I might have to go back and change that then. I've got that wrong. Oh yeah, I read that wrong. Okay, that's good. Just because I thought we'd only got the one tree we could use for them. I've obviously read the information wrong. That's good, because I would like to do different trees. So we need some of these larger cedars. So they're all massive, aren't they? Is that the smallest one? Oh, that one's like a thinner version. Okay. So North America, Asia, and Europe, he said, right? So we've got black spruce. I'm going to really just mix these all together. I don't really mind that they're all from the same place. And then traditional sort of Douglas fir. And then we'll use one of those lighter ones because they're actually quite nice. Was it Polar? I suppose we could just take it from there, can't we? Because they're nice. Within reason, they actually bring a nice bit of colour to it, you see. But I think on their own, they all look a bit samey. If that's better, you've just got like a variation of them now. So I'm going to clear out. We'll leave a couple of the big ones in, but I'm going to clear out some of these little ones. And instead, let me just read again what they actually like. Environments. There we go. Europe, North America, Asia, taiga, temperate, tundra. So let's just select all of them. And Europe, North America, Asia, and then biome, taiga, temperate, tundra. So anything here, they're fine with. Is how I'm thinking this works. So there they go. They're the ones we placed down. Those Dahorian larch, they're called. I quite like the Douglas firs as well. So tip for placing trees, turn off align to surface, and then they'll always be, once you reselect them, they'll always be pointing straight up. Well, these Douglas firs look a little silly, I think, when they're like that, but we'll try a few. There we go. What else we got? There was another one, wasn't there? Oh, the Scots pine. There we go. It's quite a classic, isn't it? Scots pine. There we are. And we've got these. Oh yeah, these ones are really nice. These cedars. So that's probably it, isn't it? I suppose we get rid of one of those ones, move that one over this way a little, and then we could probably fit a cedar in there and it look alright. Lovely. I love that we're sort of moving into a slightly different space. Here all, you know, a bit more sort of swampy, tropical. And over here we're definitely sort of getting some North American vibes, I am personally anyway. Good stuff. Right, I'll carry on with a bit of detail here. Mostly going to be rock work, really, just to kind of, like I say, break up these swathes of sort of land here. But overall, I think that's turned out pretty nice. Look at that. Wolfies. And then, oh yeah, we'll sort of box in the back of this as well with a clear fence. Good stuff. Right, next episode then, I'd like you to actually get involved with this now. Now I'm getting a bit more into it. What animal should we do next? Now, bear in mind that we're budgeted. We've only got some of these leaves. Okay, so don't come and say a massive savanna with giraffes and elephants and everything else. You know, let's try and keep the next one a little smaller, to be honest, because that was a big one, and we're going to take a while to sort of make sure we recoup from that. I've just noticed there's a bit of thin terrain there that needs pulling up. There we go. So we don't get the see-through bits. So you do get the see-through bits in some distances. Well, it all falls away there, doesn't it? Okay. So yeah, suggestions, please. Maybe something that will complement the timber wolf. So something of this kind of ilk that we can fit together, maybe around the back of it here or on the side. The other thing I did unlock, actually, which I do want to try and do a bit of savanna over this way probably eventually, is we unlocked the rides, the other rides. So we've got the train, and we've also got the buggy as well, the 4x4. So we've got both of those that we can probably do something with as well, to go with the savanna. But yeah, ideas on a postcard, please. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be good.